Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another video of Be the Best DFS Daily Fantasy Sports Talk. Today is Thursday, October 19th, 2017, and this is my Week 7 video for the upcoming NFL slate this upcoming Sunday. Quickly, a recap on Week 6. Y'all know I keep it real, I keep it 100%. Week 6 wasn't that good for me. My top scores on the main slates were 108.6 on Fanduel and 115.10 on DraftKings. I felt like maybe just a few points short of cashing in cash games on Fanduel and DraftKings. That 115 wasn't enough for GPPs. So overall, the last couple of weeks, I've kind of been struggling on NFL Daily Fantasy. It's like I'm missing something. Either the running backs that I picked don't do well. It's just something that I'm missing. Deshaun Watson, he did good, but I guess I should have had some exposure to maybe Le'Veon Bell. I had Kareem Hunt. He didn't do as well as I would have liked. It's just something I'm missing. Kind of been struggling the last 2 weeks. But, despite that, just got to keep on working at it, keep on grinding. I'm going to look forward to improving and doing better for this week 7. So with that being said, let me get started talking about this Week 7 slate. I always start the videos off talking about top stacks of the week. And for this week 7, I think it's kind of challenging this week for the main slates because it's hard to find value in my opinion. A lot of the top plays are at premium prices, and I think it creates just a challenge, to build the lineup and find that value. My top plays that I like for GPPs and tournaments as far as stacks this week, they're real risky, kind of off the wall. So instead, I'm just going to talk about, the top most logical plays to play first. Then I'll talk about, two stacks that I really like this week for value. So if you're paying up, I think you got to look at that Falcons and Patriots game. It's the highest total game on the slate at 56 points, with the Patriots being favored by 3 points. You got two great quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Super Bowl champion, and Matt Ryan, the MVP last year in the Super Bowl rematch. So when you factor in that it's being the highest total on the slate and, the teams that's playing, this is a great game to look for fantasy value or fantasy production. Statistically speaking, the New England Patriots, they're ranked 32nd overall defensively, and they're ranked 32nd versus the pass. So this put Matt Ryan in a great spot right here. So Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, Taylor Gabriel, along with Devontae Freeman, I think all of them are a viable way to go as far as stacking this week in your lineups for week 7. They're at a premium price, so if you do pick them, you have to really find value in other places. But Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and the Falcons, they're one of the top plays this week. As well as on the other side, the Patriots, Tom Brady, Gronkowski, Hogan, Brandon Cooks, they're all in a great spot as well. They're at home. Last week, the Falcons, they failed to sack Jay Cutler. And if they don't put any pressure or if they don't get any sacks on Tom Brady, it's going to be a long day for the Falcons. So, Tom Brady, I hate to say it, y'all know I'm a Falcons fan, but the Patriots and Tom Brady, they're in a great spot as well. And the same thing, they're priced at premium prices. So if you do play them, you definitely have to, find, value plays, at certain positions. Gronkowski's 8,500, Cooks is 7,800. So they're all priced up. It'll make it kind of a challenge, to build the rest of your lineup if you do choose to go that route. But just if you don't consider salary pricing, I think these two teams are in great spots for a lot of offensive yards and a lot of points being scored, this upcoming week. Outside of that game, I think Dak Prescott is in a nice spot this week. They're coming off a bye week, going up against the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are 29th ranked defense, 28th versus the pass. Dak Prescott, dual threat quarterback. He can pass the ball as well as he has rushing upside as well. So when you consider the matchup, and the Cowboys, they do need this game. Philadelphia at the top of that division at 5-1. I think Dak Prescott, he's in a great spot this week. He's kind of priced up too, but I do like him. Pairing him up with Dez Bryant is definitely Dez Bryant and Ezekiel Elliott if you can afford it, and maybe Cole Beasley or Terrence Williams. That's definitely another option that you can use to stack this week for week 7. See if there's anyone else. I think, in my opinion, those are like the top 3, quarterbacks to look at for this week. Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, and Dak Prescott. Now, from a value end, I'm probably going to choose the value route. Still working on things, but the way this slate looks, I might take the value route at quarterback. And for value, I think there are 2 options. Brett Hundley for the Green Bay Packers, mainly because of the matchup. New Orleans Saints, 27th defensively ranked, 29th versus the pass. Hundley is at home, and his price is $6,500. So maybe Brett Hundley and Devontae Adams, who has really been playing well this year. I think that's one option for value. I like him. But who I really like, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this play, but I got a feeling that this could be a week where he could really do well. That's going to be Jay Cutler and Jarvis Landry of the Miami Dolphins. It's mainly a pricing thing. He's $6,500, and he's at home going up against, the Jets. Last week against the Falcons, Jay Cutler, he had 151 yards passing, but a lot of his production came in the second half. Y'all know I watched that game because I'm a Falcons fan, and he had 2 passing touchdowns. I know Jay Cutler isn't the greatest quarterback. I know he tends to throw interceptions and he can fumble the ball and things like that. But this week in this matchup, only for GPPs, no way for cash or anything like that. He's someone I might want to take a chance on this week. I've been struggling the last 2 weeks, so I'm just going to try something a little different. And if I'm going to use Jay Cutler, I think Jarvis Landry is the definitely the top option. This guy, he had 14 targets on last week, 82 yards. Let me see something real quick. He's 5th in the league in targets, 3rd in the league in receptions. So the Jets, The Jets, they're 16th versus the pass, 26th defensively ranked. It's not nothing for me to really be scared of, but I also like Ajayi, like a 3-man stack, of the Dolphins. I just think this is a good spot for them at home. If I'm not mistaken, let me look. They're on a 2-game win streak. I'm not sure, but I like Jay Cutler this week, and that's just probably what I'm gonna go with in one of my lineups right now, mainly because of the pricing. But outside of that stack that I like of the Dolphins, the more logical and probably more reasonable plays would be to look either with Matt Ryan with the Falcons, Tom Brady with the Patriots, or Dak Prescott with the Cowboys. Those are probably the more reasonable plays. But for value and just, for tournaments and GPPs, a little more risky play, I do like Jay Cutler. Now, position by position, running back position. Again, I like Jay Ajayi in this matchup. Last week he had 130 yards rushing. I know overall this season he hasn't performed well. Jets, they're ranked 28th versus the rush. The Dolphins are home favorites, and Ajayi's price is a mid-tier price at 7,400. So like last week, with those 130 yards rushing, all he needed was a touchdown, to really, get his points up there. So I do like him this week. Le'Veon Bell, he's expensive, but he's shown, the type of upside that he has. 179 yards rushing on last week. The volume is there, 32 rushing attempts. It's a tough matchup because Cincinnati, they do have a legit defense. So, that's something to take into consideration. If Leonard Fournette plays, I know he had an injury. You gotta like Leonard Fournette. He's number one in rushing touchdowns, second in rushing yards behind Kareem Hunt. Hunt's playing on Thursday night, so Fournette has the most rushing yards out of any running back on the slate. So depending on his health, he's in play. But again, he's expensive, which makes it challenging. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. Gotta like Elliott, especially if you're using Dak Prescott. You want to do a Cowboys stack. Do like Elliott versus the 49ers. We know Elliott, he gets the volume. He always gets at least 20 rushes. So like Elliott. I'm not too big on Todd Gurley this week. I could be wrong, but I think Arizona, they have a legit defense. And Gurley, 8,400, I'm not really looking at him too much. Let's see, I'm just going down the list. LaShawn McCoy, I really don't know about him neither because Buffalo really doesn't have that strong of a passing game, so they can load up the box. Tampa Bay can load up the box, and then statistically speaking, Tampa Bay is 7th versus the rush. With that being said, Adrian Peterson went off on Tampa Bay last week, so McCoy could have a good game. Freeman, I would only play Freeman if I use Matt Ryan. So if I use Matt Ryan in lineups, I think Freeman is in play. But two guys that I like for value, I do like Adrian Peterson. He showed that he still has it last week, and he's in a good matchup. Adrian Peterson versus the Los Angeles Rams, 29th versus the rush. I think his legs are fresh. He has a lot to prove. He probably will be a popular cash game play, but at that price of 6,300, I think that's value that we can look for, in tournaments this week. So Adrian Peterson at 6,300. I like him a lot. He's probably going to have some popularity, but when you consider the matchup and everything, Peterson definitely one of my top plays at running back. And if DeMarco Murray doesn't play, or if DeMarco Murray is limited, I think that Derrick Henry is someone that you have to consider. Former Heisman Trophy winner. This past week on Monday night, 131 rushing yards. So definitely, if DeMarco Murray is ruled out, Derrick Henry is another value play that's in play, in my opinion. Henry, for sure, 5,600. That's the type of value you need if you going the route of using a lot of plays in the Atlanta and New England game. So definitely, I like Derrick Henry for value. I think that's about it as far as the main plays I want to talk about at running back. And now let me move on to the next position of receiver. Receiver. I like Julio Jones, of course. Again, the Patriots, they're at the bottom of the league as far as defending the pass. Julio still hasn't scored a touchdown. I seriously doubt he goes the whole season without scoring a touchdown. So Julio Jones for 8,800, he's probably one of my top wide receivers. Definitely got to use him if you stack him up with Matt Ryan. I also like Dez Bryant. That correlates with the stack of using Dak Prescott. I talked about Jarvis Landry. You know, he gets a lot of targets. So I do like Landry. Antonio Brown, man, I think he's becoming like matchup proof. 25.5 fantasy points on last week. Over 150 receiving yards the last 2 weeks. He's becoming matchup proof. Again, like I said, Cincinnati, though, they're a legit defense. They're second versus the pass. So I don't know. And then Antonio Brown's price is 9,300. So it's a premium price and everything. I don't know if you would use him in cash, but in GPPs, you always have to consider Brown. I don't know if I'll be able to afford him, but he's becoming like a matchup proof type of player with the type of numbers that he's putting up and all the targets, that he get. So definitely Antonio Brown. I talked about Devontae Adams earlier. He's at a sort of a value price of 6,900. So definitely can consider him, mainly because of the matchup versus the Saints defense. But on the top end, again, Julio, Antonio Brown, Dez Bryant. I guess you can consider AJ Green because it's no Tyler Eifert, so he's the top passing option. I'm not looking at T.Y. Hilton this week because Jacksonville they pretty stingy versus the pass. They got some pretty good corners there. And let me see. Demaryius Thomas, probably the last person I want to mention. With no Emmanuel Sanders, Thomas is going to be the top receiving option. So Thomas, simply because of the usage, the bumping usage with no Emmanuel Sanders, I think he's in consideration. But mainly, I think it's about receivers this week. I think it's about pairing them up with whatever quarterback you choose to go with. So whether you use Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Jay Cutler, Brett Hundley, Dak Prescott, whichever one of those quarterbacks you choose, go for the receiver, his top receiver option, and maybe a value option on that same team within the passing game. I think that's the best route to go. For example, this one little rough draft lineup that I have with Jay Cutler and Jarvis Landry, using Kenny Stills for 4,900 at value, especially if Devontae Parker doesn't play. That instantly moves Stills up to second on the depth chart. So my advice for receiver, again, look for, receivers to stack up with whatever quarterback that you decide to use this week. And let's move to the next position. Tight end, I think it's all about Gronkowski. The Falcons have historically struggled at defending the tight end position. And again, if they're not able to get pressure on Tom Brady, Gronkowski is in store for a big game. 2 touchdowns on last week, so Gronkowski at 8,500. If you don't like Gronkowski, I think Ingram for value for the New York Giants. With no Odell Beckham and no Shepard, I don't believe Ingram, he becomes one of the top options in the passing game, so I do like him. I like Kyle Rudolph for value for the Minnesota Vikings. Kind of look at what else. I think those are the main 3 tight ends that I have interest in. Gronkowski to pay up for value, Ingram and Rudolph. Outside of those three, again, the stacking can really work. So whatever quarterback you use, maybe look for the tight end for that same team to stack them up with. Typically, the tight ends, they're lower priced than like other players at other positions on the slate. So tight end could be somewhere where you can get value. But overall, I don't think I'm saying anything special. Gronkowski is definitely the top tight end to choose from. That's basically all my skill, all the positions going over this week. I typically don't talk about kickers and team defenses. Again, I've been struggling the last 2 weeks, but that's just a part, of the daily fantasy game. I understand that can't win every week, but I'm not trying to lose 3 weeks in a row. So I'm gonna keep working on lineups. You just gotta take a stand this week with the quarterback and wide receivers. Are you gonna go for value? Or are you gonna pay up? If you're going for value, definitely look at that Sunday night game. Patriots and Falcons and Cowboys as a third option. If you're going for value is all not value. If you're paying up, go for the Patriots and the Falcons. If you're going for value, which is always kind of risky, in my opinion, I like Jay Cutler and Brett Hundley of the Green Bay Packers for value. Those stacks. Running backs, the best ones are expensive, but Le'Veon Bell definitely gets the volume. Le'Veon Bell, Fournette, Elliott, they're all in play. But I like Jay Ajayi, at his mid-tier price. I do like Adrian Peterson at his value price. And depending on the status of DeMarco Murray, I like Derrick Henry at his value price as well. Again, receivers, I'm looking at just whatever quarterback I put in the lineup. That's how I'm going to use my receivers. Same thing with tight end. Try to just pair it up with my quarterbacks. Gronkowski, he's definitely the best tight end on the slate. Plug him in if you can afford him. That's about the end of this video. As always, I want to thank everyone who's taking the time out to view this video. If you like the video and like everything that I'm talking about, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank everyone for all your support through all of social media. Make sure you search the tag, hashtag BeTheBestDFS, and you'll find me on all social media, Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter, and of course this YouTube channel. On Instagram, I occasionally share my lineups sometimes, so make sure you follow that Instagram account at BeTheBestDFS17. That's about it. I hope everyone have a good week. NBA is back, so we got a couple of sports to play now. Last night was a high scoring night on NBA, so it should be really fun these next few weeks playing NFL and NBA. Wish everyone much success, and as always, y'all know what the motto is: I count the wins as blessings, losses teach lessons. And like always, everyone try to be the best. Always try to be the best this week in DFS, in life, or whatever. Just try to be the best. I'll catch y'all next week for week 8. All right, I'm out.